Welcome to another empowering episode of Empower Her Voices. Today we have a truly exceptional guest who is dedicated to helping individuals break free from fear and unlock their full potential. She's the fear specialist, transformational speaker, and certified NLP trainer and coach with over a decade of experience in guiding individuals toward fear free success. And as the creator of the Step on Your Fears method and the 7 step guide to permanently conquer your fears, she has transformed countless lives worldwide. She's also the host of the podcast Stories About Fear, where she dives deep into overcoming fear and embracing personal growth, and a specialist in business timeline therapy and hypnosis. She provides impactful tools for career transformation and personal empowerment. Beyond her coaching and speaking engagements, she conducts daily live sessions on YouTube and social media, offering powerful insights and strategies to help individuals and organizations overcome fear and achieve success. Please join me in welcoming incredible Roxana Poppet. Roxana, welcome to Empower Her Voices. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. And your work in helping individuals conquer fear, step into their power is truly inspiring. And I know our audience will gain so much from your insights. Thank you for taking the time to be here and share your expertise with us.
Faiza, the honor is all mine. Thank you so much for having me with you today. It's such a pleasure to have our audience be guided into the acceptance of our emotions and fears, because this is all incredibly simple to do when we get to understand that fear is our friend, as I'm pretty sure that you've seen in my media so far. Thank you for
Yes.
this wonderful introduction. And I'm even wondering, wow, is this how other people see me? But it's such a pleasure and an honor to know that you felt some impact from my work, which is what truly makes it all worthwhile.
That's great. That's great. I'm equally excited because this is something we all struggle in our daily life somewhere, sometimes maybe professional, personal life. So we really need to deep inside it, and would like to know the reasons behind this as well. So, Roxana, your journey as the fear specialist is incredibly impactful. I must say this. And can you take us back to the start of your journey? Like, what personal experiences or moments sparked your passion for helping others step on their fears and break through the barriers holding them back?
A great question, Faiza, and thank you, as we were discussing earlier, for organizing all of these wonderful insights that you have prepared for me as well, because you inspire me tremendously. And
Thank
to
you so
keep
much.
it long story short, because it's been quite some years ago since my journey has begun, I was very fortunate to have a heart disease in my mid 20s.
Oh,
And I was in a job that unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, I began to realize that it's not for me. I was enjoying the first few months. I thought it was exciting. I was working with foreign languages, meeting new people. But after a while, as I was doing the same thing over and over again, and me being very afraid to speak up, I
mhm.
thought that I am not allowed to say anything that's on my mind, that I should be quiet in a corner, looking pretty, doing my job, but not upsetting anyone. I was growing up, I was told that I need to be, as much as possible, not bothering others. So I was a major people pleaser. And this led to a lot of frustration and anger and fear, because I could not make the decision to move to a new job. And as much as I was struggling to cope with all of the changes at work and me trying my best to look happy, I was pretending a lot. Deep down inside, I felt that I was trapped, because how could I tell my parents, my friends, or the people that I collaborate with that I'm going to leave this stable job
Mhm.
that was pretty nicely paid to do something different that I had no idea what? I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew I wanted to make an impact. but I had no idea what. But I knew that being in that position at my job, it's not for me for sure. So can you believe it, Faiza, that I stayed 8 years extra, 8 full years extra at a job that I began to hate completely just because I was afraid. However, thank God I got sick. And it sounds very strange for me to say that thank God I got this heart condition, because it's how I got to look at it as an alarm ringing from several parts in my life, because I began to have other health conditions that I began wondering, okay, well, I'm taking the same heart pills like my grandma. My grandma was in her early 70s. I was in my mid 20s. And at one point, I remember it was a summer day around midday, and
Okay.
I was going to the pharmacy, and I thought, well, if I'm not going to make any changes and I'm on this pills, on this medicine as my grandma is, and I'm not even 30, how will I live to be in my 30s and 40s and so on? But this was not even close to me starting to look more into the power of our emotions that kept us trapped unless we start looking a bit into them. Thank God I had a friend at work that told me that, I had breast cancer and I'm beginning to heal with the help of NLP. Now, I want to tell you, Faiza, that my first impression was, she's crazy. She must be using some substances, because it all sounded strange to me. Now, I was beginning to understand how personal development works, how you can get to be more positive and your life starts to change. But it seemed pretty far fetched, to be honest, because I grew up in a rather traditional household with not talking about our emotions, me needing to be quiet, as I told you. But thank God she began dragging me to some events. And the more that I began to understand how our mind works, how neurolinguistic programming works, I had this aha moment at one point, and I realized, wow, I'm not a victim anymore. I'm not a victim of my mind anymore. And it was beyond powerful and explosive for me, because it felt like I rebirthed again, like I rebirthed again. And it got me to understand that when I accept everything that I feel, because Faisal, the problem is not the feeling itself. It's not fear that's the problem. It's our rejection we
Yeah.
put on it, because we think it's not normal for us to feel fear, to feel angry, to feel upset or frustrated or stressed, when in fact, when we put guilt and shame on top of our emotions, this is the problem. Needless to say, I began taking all of the NLP courses, but it took a lot of convincing, Faiza. Now I'm making it seem nice and positive and easy, but it took a lot of convincing for me to be open, because it was a whole new world. Fear of the unknown was strong. Fear
Purifying.
of
Yes.
fear of what other people think, fear of leaving the steady income, the safe comfort zone. It felt really dangerous to me. So easy, step by step, easily I began to get into my mind and simply accept everything that I felt and looking at them as mere messages, because this is what our emotions are.
What an incredible journey. And trust me, whatever you have said so far, like the basic thing when you said that there were like 8 years extra you spend over there where you don't want to work, or this was something not close to your heart. So yes, denial is, I totally agree with you, denial is something that till the time we're not going to accept where exactly we are standing and what actually is bothering us, we can't go far from there. And this is something that we all are struggling, and that's why we have you with us today to actually understand the psychology behind that and to understand how we can comprehend this thing. So, while talking about like overcoming fear for leadership and success, so fear can be a significant challenge, like especially when it comes to leadership. So, reflecting on your own experiences, the way you have shared. So, is there any specific moment, like if you can share that, how did you overcome fear to step into the leadership roles where you are today, and how can the women and young girls today, how can they shift their mindset to turn fear into a source of empowerment rather than being into a denial for their personal and professional lives?
What a great question, Faiza. The most important thing we need to consider is mistakes. And I want us to change our entire perspective on mistakes and failures because this is what we need in order to evolve. Faiza, mistakes and failures are the most incredible things that we could do in our lives because it's the only way to truly grow. When you make mistakes, when you fail, it's you learning something new each time. And our goal, the big picture, needs to be to evolve. We need to have progress in our lives, in our professional lives, us as leaders. We need to always understand that even when we make a mistake, we are the most blessed because now you know what not to do. Now you have the perspective of something that you put in practice, and now you get the lesson. So when we make a mistake, Faiza, in order to move forward, you simply need to use a very simple question, which is, how can I make this better next time? This is so powerful and it's so easy and it's so simple. What I do as a fear specialist is to simplify our mindset, is to make sure that we can have very user friendly methods to put in practice now on the spot. So, anyone that's listening to us, make sure that you grab a pen and a piece of paper and put down your thoughts, maybe for a minute or two, to this question. If you're thinking about a mistake or something that you have failed recently on, how can I make this better next time? And you will be surprised because what happens next, Faiza, is that all of the fear, the stress, and the frustration that you have kept inside of you because your focus was on the problem, on what didn't work according as you were expecting, as you thought it would develop. When you see it black on white, when you look at the solution and you are aware of what's really the lesson behind it all, your fear transforms into an amazing solution. It basically disappears. It's that simple, isn't it? So I encourage everyone, and you too, Faiza, when you have a moment after we
Yeah.
finish today, to please put this in practice. It's that easy.
So it this is so we all have these moments, right? And this is like really simple. I thought when you said we have to grab a pen, so this is something very technical, but it's so easy. So we just need to pen down our thoughts, and then just we need to write how we can actually improve this when it is going to happen again. It's just like this.
It's that simple, Faiza. And what we need to remember is that we
Mm,
truly need to have the pen and the piece of paper. Ideally, not the phone, not the laptop, not the tablet, because our
mm,
brain is so strongly connected with our hands. When you
yeah.
feel the pen in your hands, when you feel your hand on the piece of paper, you start to detach yourself even more from the problem. You'll start to feel more relieved as you
Mm,
use your hands to put the letters down. And when you read them black on white, you will be surprised because Faiza, what we keep in our mind is so
mm,
different than what we read on the piece of paper. Because ideally, we
mm,
want to not judge the thoughts that come to our mind. We need to let them go. Remember that no one's judging you but you. The piece of paper is not going to judge you. So
mm.
leave it all out, put everything down on the piece of paper, and after you read it, you'll see and you'll feel how fear basically dissipates completely and it turns into some amazing solutions that you can apply on the spot.
We'll definitely go for it, and this is something we all can practice on daily basis. So
Yeah.
you just talked about the NLP, the neuro language programming. So as an NLP trainer, You have worked with individuals from all walks of life. So, what specific techniques or personal breakthroughs have you seen in your work that helped women particularly transform their fear into confidence and taking action toward their goals?
When people realize that it doesn't need to be complicated, as you just said earlier, it's that
Yeah.
simple, isn't it? My technique, I've been refining it just so that the normal person that doesn't have any neurolinguistic programming training,
Mm,
anything to do with personal development, they can put it in practice. And I mostly teach people how to ask themselves questions. I do
mm,
believe in self coaching a lot, Faiza. I believe
mm,
in people being independent and not depending on me, on the trainer, on the
mm,
coach, on the person that can give them the solutions. Because, Faiza, we all have the answers, they're within. We don't need
mm,
anyone to tell us what to do, when to do it. So I give them the guidance. Here you go. Ideally, I'm not going to see them more than once.
mm,
I love this. I enjoy giving people the understanding and the power back to them. The realization that, hey, I have all the answers. So we
mm,
need to focus on questions as some great questions. Really simplifies, again, pen and a piece of paper and write them down. Why do I feel this now? Whether you are frustrated, confused, whether you are too excited to contain your emotions, whether you are too stressed. Again, take a minute or two. Answer to this question. Why do I feel this now? A very simple question, like the question that a child asks. I have a 4 year old that keeps on asking me, why, mom? Why? It's that simple that gets you the understanding of what's really the problem underneath it all. Because, Faiza, our emotions, as I was telling you earlier, they come with a message. So if I feel fear, let's say that I'm afraid of making a very important decision, this is only the surface issue. It's not the real issue because the problem is not in you making the choice itself. There are definitely other fears, other situations that have led you to the outcome of not being able to make a decision. So the more you go, the more layers you extract from the problem, the more you will be able to find the solution yourself as you put everything down on the piece of paper. Now, a part of me about 10 years ago was saying that what this is nonsense. How can I get to have so many amazing achievements if I just talk to myself like that? And this is how I felt back then. And the more that I began working on these on my own, the more I realized that I was such a powerful human being. You are not a victim anymore because, Faiza, we sometimes forget we are not a tree. We are
mm,
not rooted like a tree. You can move, you can definitely make all of the choices. And again, going back to the decisions, going back to the mistakes that sometimes arise from the decisions that we make. Because to be honest, sometimes these mistakes make us lose a lot of time, money, resources, relationships, or even our jobs, and even other stronger consequences. However, get the lesson and understand one thing. This is really important, and I encourage everyone to please consider this. If you could have done more, you would have done more, wouldn't you? With the resources you had back then, you did your best, because if you could have done more, wouldn't you have done more? This is
mm.
an interesting question, right?
This is an interesting question. So, it's just that at times, like most of the time, we are hard on ourselves. So, what I've understood from this bit is that we need to be at ease with ourselves first of all, and then acknowledge every bit of it. And then, as you said, that the deeper we'll go, the more we'll explore about ourselves, in fact, when it comes to these things. So is it like about the self communication that we need to talk to our own self very frequently just to get hold of the emotions or frustration or maybe anything? This is something that we need to do it like regularly.
Faiza, so nicely said. You've said it so nicely. And yes, we need to do this regularly, even
Mm,
frequently. And
super.
I have this interesting concept about being selfish. And I
Okay.
encourage you and everyone listening to start being more selfish, to start putting yourself first, and to
Mm,
start treating yourself like you would treat your best friend. You need to be your most amazing ally, supporter, collaborator, manager. Be your most kindest self with yourself, because the thing is that, Faiza, if we don't respect ourselves, if we
yeah.
don't put ourselves first, and if we don't make ourselves a priority,
Mm,
no one will do this for us. So the
true.
kinder that you are with you,
Mm,
understanding that all of these mistakes happened because it's normal for you to learn along the way. No one knows all of the answers, and no one will. We
yeah.
learn as we go. It's just how life is unfolding. Of course, our ego will be saying, no, I need perfection. I need to look amazing on camera. I need to do my best. I need to have all of my colleagues at work, my team leader, my managers praising me continually because I'm so amazing at what I do. But it cannot happen. We cannot win all the time, and that's okay. Because,
So,
Faisal, when you don't win, you grow tremendously. Because we unfortunately are not learning too much when things go according to our expectations. We simply are not, because you're comfortable, everything is going wonderful, it's pink, and nothing stretches you. There's no
mm,
challenge. So be your best friend. Be kind with yourself. Remember that you are doing your very best. If you could have done more, you would have done more. And an important lesson, another important lesson, is to treat mistakes as blessings. They are your greatest blessings, whatever you do, because now you know what not to do next. So you will
yeah.
definitely not do the same thing over and over again. And what not to do is an amazing lesson already.
Very rightly said. What not to do is an amazing lesson. So you have it's really awakening as well that the way you have actually break down the term problem and fear, which like kind of haunt us the most, in a way that if we are going to now, if I am going to talk about myself, I'll think, okay, fine. So if mistake is a blessing, how come it's a blessing? And you've just said that blessing because now we know why not to go for it. So this is something so it actually also comes in this self-awareness bit as well.
It does. It makes you understand
Mm,
that even if you make 50 mistakes per day, you are simply evolving, which, Faiza, is the most important part in our humanity, in our evolution as it is. It's us evolving, us not being in the same position where you were last month, Faiza. So
yeah.
comparing yourself with yourself only means that when you look back
Mm,
to January, to December, or even more, to last year, February of 2024, even if you've made that 1% of an improvement, that one tiny step ahead, you are a winner already. But
that's,
if you are stuck, and if you have not moved because of fear, because of
mm,
stress, that's a
mm,
problem. That's
that's
truly a
a problem.
problem that you need to start genuinely being interested in. And you need to start asking yourself some questions in order to move yourself from that place. So it's
Mm,
the journey,
it's
the
the journey.
way that you get the 1% done, even if, Faiza, you do 2% per year. It's
Mm,
incredible. You are doing, at least you're doing something, right? At least
rather
you're
than
moving. Because let's say that you have, let's say, Faiza, that you want to start your own business. You are very happy. You've prepared everything. You've done the market research. The media is, everything is put in place. You have great
mm,
coaches, mentors, and
yeah.
you have high expectations, which is normal. It's great
Yeah.
to have this. But something happens and you
Mm,
have this failure along the way. Maybe you had expected 10 clients in your first
mhm,
month, but you only had one.
yeah.
Now, you may say, well, this is a great failure. I need to stop. This is not going to be supporting me in the future.
Hmm.
But if you look at the 1% of a progress that you have already made, you have done something different. You are learning something new. You have one person to work with. Or even if there's no one there to work with, at least you are putting something in practice. You are working with new methods. You are asking questions. You are doing something.
Yeah,
This
so
makes you a great winner already.
true, true. And talking about this fear and professional growth, so women often experience fear of rejection, failure, and not being good enough in the workplace, as you already said. So, in your own career, how have you managed these fears, and what strategies do you recommend for women to overcome these barriers and thrive professionally? Because this is really a big challenge.
It is, Faiza. What a great question. And I want to be very honest with you and with everyone listening to us because it's not easy at first. It
Mm,
took for me personally a lot of months for me to truly dive deep into making sure that I understand
mm,
how powerful my insights are because I was always looking for the exterior validation. I
yeah,
always
exactly.
wanted people to applaud me along the way. I wanted people to guide me, to give me an impulse. But I understood that it's not a matter of me pleasing others, but
Mm,
it's a matter of me making sure that I'm pleasing myself. Am I happy with this situation? Am I truly
mm,
understanding where is my place in everything that's happening around me, in me helping people, in supporting them? And in order for me to simplify things for our ladies, for the girls, for the women listening to us, I would say that practice and patience go a long way. And it took me a lot of time to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. Because in many instances, Faiza, you know all the steps. Rationally, you are so well equipped. You may be having lists, countless to do lists with everything that you need to do next. However, something deep down in us is simply keeping us away from performing as we would expect. What we need to do then is to get a pen and a piece of paper. This is our to do thing that really gets us out of our mind into our rational mind. Because, Faiza, when you are rational about your fears, when you know exactly what's stopping you, when you know the block, again,
mm,
it shifts into solutions. And again, it's that simple. However, I do say it's simple, but it takes practice. So,
mm,
another great question is, how can I do this despite being afraid? What we do here is to focus on the how. How
mm,
gives you the solution? It gets your mind to
correct.
marinate all of the countless possibilities that you'll find when you allow yourself to put everything down there. And we also acknowledge fear, Faiza. We
Mm,
acknowledge
yeah,
fear despite being afraid, because let's
true.
treat our fears as a worried mother. This is a
Mm,
great example that helps us to simplify things even more. So let's say, Faiza, that you want to go out. You are in your early 20s, you may be living with your parents, and at one point, you are going to tell your mom, I'm going out with a friend. It's 8 p.m., it's a Saturday. We want to go to a birthday party. I'll be back in about 3 hours. And
right.
your worried mother, the fear could be telling you, Faiza, you're not going anywhere. Where do you think you're going? It's late. I don't know these people. It's nighttime. You need to be home with us. What if something happens? What
Mm,
if, what if, what if? This is how our mind reacts to anything that's new, anything that's a challenge, even to a mere diet. Because our mind thinks, well, if Faiza was well and alive as she is right now, why does she need to change anything? She needs
mm,
to do the same thing again because she was safe when she did the known. If she
Okay.
goes into the unknown, as we were talking about our example with the worried mother that doesn't want to let you go to the birthday party, it could mean a potential danger. And our mind feels stressed. It feels that it's losing control over you. And Faiza, one of the most important things that our mind is interested in is to keep you alive physically. And that's
Hmm.
it. It
Yeah.
does not want you to thrive. It wants you to be alive. It is interested in our physical integrity
Yeah.
because our mind is still connected to how things were millions of years ago when the saber-toothed tiger, and I think you know this example, it's so
Yeah.
popular everywhere, was about to attack us around the corner. And if we would not have fear, if we would not be extremely cautious, we would
True.
die.
Yeah.
So our mind is wired to keep us alive, Faiza. Any
Hmm.
change that you make gets our mind to feel stressed, to feel that something dangerous is about to happen. So going
Hmm.
back to our example, Faiza, if you would be telling your mom, no, mom, I'm 20 years old. I want to go out. You cannot tell me what to do. Leave
Hmm.
me alone and I'll be back when I said I would. Your
Yeah.
mom will be furious. She will not let you go outside of the house because how dare you are going to talk back to her? How dare you want to do this really dangerous thing? Now,
Hmm.
in our example, what you would have done by speaking out to your mom, this is a negative example. You would not want to do this with your mind. And this is what we do in many instances. We
Okay.
judge our thoughts. We think
Hmm.
that, well, it's not normal that I'm afraid of talking in front of people at work. It's not normal that I'm afraid to have another project. It's not normal. It's not. When in fact it is. So, what we need to do in our example is for you, Faiza, to talk to your mom in a different way. Let's be more, um, let's be kinder to our mind and to our mom, the worried mother.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell our mom the following. Mom, you're right. You are right. It could be dangerous. I could have a difficult time being out there because I don't know everyone that's there. You are right. You are definitely
Hmm.
right. And I appreciate you being so caring with me. I really appreciate that a lot. However, what if I call you when I get there? What if you can video call and see the people around there? And what if I'll be home even sooner? So, what we're doing now, Faiza, is to get our mother, get our mind used to the change. So, take it step by step.
Hmm.
It's not like, okay, I'm starting a business today. In a year, I'll be a millionaire. It scares our mind. But if we take it step by step, thinking about $1,000, maybe next year, thinking about adding some more, it's
Okay.
going to give our mind that confidence that, hey, they're safe. And when you're safe, Faiza, you are creative. When you
Yes.
feel that you are in danger, you cause so much stress that you will be stuck. And as we
Hmm.
discussed earlier, Faiza, we don't want to be in a position where we are stuck and
Hmm.
blocked because of our own mind.
Yeah. True, true. We just need to keep going. And the example that you have just shared, I'm sure it's like really, really valuable for the young girls out there because they are facing such situations, but then they don't know how to navigate that situation. And by following what you have said is something really useful for them. So we are talking about like, this generational gap and just to talk about that. So as someone who has paved a path for fearless living, so, what do you think women in leadership can do to inspire the next generation? Because, what's like the way they model fearless leadership when either they're at home or they're at their workplace and create an environment where young girls feel empowered to lead without limitations? Because this is really crucial for personal and professional both life.
I love this question so much, and the answer is again very simple. We as women need to speak up, speak loud. Um, take a lot of space, be very vocal, and be even noisy because we are told to be in a corner. Don't talk too much. Many women are unfortunately told that you're a woman, your place is at home with kids, or it's at home with cooking and experimenting recipes. And I've been told this. And I even put this in practice, Faiza. And it only took me a few days to realize that no, thank you very much. It's not for me. So what we need to do is to have our values very clearly defined and to know that we do not need to prioritize unless we want to. Because, yes, I can both cook, be with the kids at home, and I can still work and have my valuable ideas spread out there. I can both have a business, I can have a job if I want to. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to admit when you don't know. Don't be afraid to admit when you make a mistake. We need to remember that we cannot make it on our own. We cannot. We need to delegate, Faiza.
True.
Us women are expected from society to both look nice and look pretty, be smart, have kids, have the kids to school, do homework with them, keep the house tidy, look as a fitness, as a supermodel, take care of your parents, siblings, friends, have birthday parties, have dinners. Come on, it's not happening. It's impossible. However,
Mm.
what we can do is to speak out as much as we can and don't be afraid of people not being supportive. Don't be afraid if people don't agree with you. You need to like yourself first. So, going back to what we discussed earlier, do you like you? It's not a matter of others liking you or approving of you. It's a matter of you. It all is within, Faiza. And it's really simple when you get to understand that it's all in your hands and it's all in your mind. Because even if you have this fear of what will your colleagues at work say? What will your manager say? You
Mm.
can't know for sure, can you? It's just a figment of our imagination that
Yeah.
stops completely when you put yourself first, when you see yourself as the one that's giving value. You are offering the people around you support. You are giving it your best. And I always say that it's a luxury, Faiza, to both put yourself first and at the same time offer value and put others' needs first as well. It's this interesting balance, Faiza, that we can never fully reach. It's these ideas of the ego, of having this perfect work life balance. When you go to work, you need to leave your problems at home. When you come
Mm.
home, leave your problems at work. It's not happening because it's only you one, Faiza, it's me one, Roxana. We just cannot be several
True.
of us. So us speaking out and making sure that you know who you are, you know what you're offering, you know what you want to have as a legacy to the people around you, to the women in your family, to the women in your community,
True.
makes you be unapologetically yourself.
Mm.
And it's important for us, Faiza, to not define ourselves through the eyes of other people, through the eyes of society. You are not a people pleaser. You are not a victim. You are someone that's brilliantly unique. So when you compare yourself with yourself only, as we discussed earlier, look
Yeah.
back to how you were a year ago and be
Mm.
proud of every single small achievement, that 1% of an achievement that you have already achieved for yourself, that you have created already, is
Mm.
incredible. It's better than 0%. So you need to be very vocal about who you are, not waiting for others to clap, to
Mm.
applaud, because it may never happen. But
Really.
again, are you clapping for yourself? Are you your biggest supporter? Are you the one that you can go to when things are tough? Because sometimes things are difficult. If you
Yeah.
can't rely on yourself,
Mm.
you can't really be helped because you will only be at the mere mercy, Faiza, when you're expecting that others give you the solution, the go ahead, the applause. You are a mere victim. You
Yeah.
are simply waiting for them to tell you how to live your life. You are at their mercy. And I know that many of us have lived like this so far. I know. I was there as well.
True. We
I was
all
investing.
exactly.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's normal because we are not told this, Faiza. We are just
Mm.
not told how powerful we are, that we can
Mm.
have our ideas, our insight very vocally sent out there in order for you to teach other people to be very vocal and outspoken without any fear, just using fear as a guidance, being genuinely curious as to why is this fear here? Why is it happening in this very moment? What does it want me to do next? It's
Mm.
so powerful when you begin to truly express yourself as you are without any fear and any stress. It's just unbelievable.
True, true. And you know what treasure chest that you are sharing with us in the form of these advices. And so I was just wondering that, the way you have actually unfolded the layers of what we are going through, we were not even able to, like most of us, at some point of time, or in fact, it's something that is happening either on daily basis or weekly or monthly. We all are encountering these situations, and then at the end of the day, as you have said, that we should be vocal about ourselves. That's something we all need to do. And even if we are going to pick, I guess, one thing out of it, and we'll start with one step, we can actually do wonders for our own self. We need to be our own ally, as you have already said. So, Roxana, you have often spoken about how fear can actually paralyze us, especially when it comes to failure, because failure, this word failure, has a stigma in the society, which actually we need to unfold and then acknowledge that, if failure is there, as you have already said, that it's about a continuous improvement. If you have failed, means you have done something. So looking back, can you share a personal story of a time when fear of failure must, like, almost held you back, and how you overcame that to move forward in your journey? Like, apart from, you've already shared the bit of that, but something which is quite recent, or which is kind of there in your mind right now, but now it's a power for you, now it's a strength for you rather than a fear.
What a great question. And I am so enjoying how you paraphrased what we discussed earlier because fear can be an amazing friend and it
Mm,
can be a very strong enemy. So it's
mm,
a matter of us choosing which side we take. Are we going to let ourselves stop
mm,
ourselves from being who we truly are, from being ourselves? Or
mm,
are we going to use this to our advantage? So, one
mm.
fear of mine was fear of what other people think. Giving
Exactly.
you a really recent example, I'm now
Yeah.
on the verge of creating some new methods, new exercises as a trainer to having more products out there for people to truly enjoy. Something
Great.
that's even more simple that people
Mm,
can take maybe not more than 5 minutes to work when they have an important meeting or a very important job interview or something that gets them out of their mind into the rational solution oriented mindset on the spot. And one of
mm.
my fears was, what if these are going to make me look like a fool? What if I'll be the
Mm,
laughing stock of people that know me and that have seen my journey so far? What if I'm making things sound way too simple, and then people will not take me seriously because if it's just that simple, it means that well, my job is kind of worthless. Now,
yeah.
isn't this a valid fear, Faiza? It is.
Mm,
However, however, I didn't let that sink in for too long. So what I did, I took a pen. I even
mm.
used sticky notes or an agenda, anything that you can use the pen on.
Okay.
And I was asking myself this: what's really the problem? What's really the problem? Because I knew the fear, so the fear was me being not
Yeah.
being the laughing stock of my acquaintances and friends. What's really the
Right.
problem? Really is a magical word. and now as well. If you ask yourself, why do I feel this now? You get your mind anchored to what's happening in this very moment, because our mind wanders off. We know this very easily. So in my case, what's the problem was that I still had a part of me wanting to please others, because
Yeah.
I wanted to look professional for others, Faiza, not for me.
Yeah,
And
true.
when I realized this, it was such I felt like I gave myself a slap. And
Mm,
I got to wake up from this. With this example, I want you to know, and everyone listening, and all of the wonderful ladies that are very courageous in many instances, to know that fear happens every single time. It may happen every single moment. It happens to me, as I have been studying fear for about 7 years now. I have
wow.
still a lot to discover myself. However, with the help of these amazing, very simple yet super insightful questions, as how do
Mm,
I do this despite being afraid? Why do I feel this now? What's really the problem? You get to see the truth. What's really the issue? So, in my case, as I still wanted to please others, I began asking myself if I am content with what I'm producing. Am I pleasing myself? Maybe, Faiza, the most important question you could ever ask yourself is this one. Am I pleasing myself now with anything that you're doing? Because then you get yourself back to yourself again, to your core, to your needs, to your values, to your why. Anytime that you want to please others, it's painful for you, because you
mm,
cannot be them. You
yeah,
cannot make others like you if you
mm,
don't like yourself. And an important food for thought for everyone, since we have the weekend approaching in one day, maybe people will feel a bit inspired to do a bit of homework, is why do I need to have others liking me? Why should others like me? Because, of course, our primal need is to have people accept us and approve of ourselves, since we are social creatures. We want to belong to a community, right?
true.
However, you cannot let this be stronger than you liking yourself more than anything. It's nice when people, as we were saying earlier, when they clap for you, when they tell you how nice you are, how
Mm,
great you have spoken at that meeting. Wow, you've done such a great episode.
true.
But if you keep on waiting for them to tell you how great you are,
Mm,
you are at their mercy, and you cannot live like this. And the danger here, Faiza, the problem is that how we do one thing, we do them all. We work with patterns. Our mind likes to keep it easy. So if it is that you are doing things in a particular way and you keep on repeating the same pattern over and over again, it will take it for granted, and it will have you implement this in all of the areas of your life. So we need
mm,
to be mindful. And as a great advice that I do this for myself, and I tell
okay.
everyone to do this, is at the end of the week, check in on yourself. See how
Mm,
you feel. How do I feel about this week? Am I happy with how I've performed this week? Am I happy with who I am? Am I liking myself more this week than I did last week?
check in on yourself. I loved it. The way we need to check in on
Exactly.
ourselves, which we don't. Yeah, true, true. So, Roxana, if you could give one piece of advice to women and young girls who are struggling with fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of taking risk, what would it be, and how they can start embracing fear and stepping into their full potential? Like if they want to start right away.
What a wonderful question, Faiza. I love this. What we need to do, a very simple step that you can do now in this very moment:
Yeah,
pen, piece of paper. I'm being very serious. It's this powerful. Ask
great.
yourself this: what do I want to achieve? Be very honest with yourself. Be
Okay.
really honest. And I'm saying this, Faiza, because in many instances, we think that we should do what others tell us.
Hmm.
Mom, dad, colleagues, friends, acquaintances, and so on. You need to start with a clear intention. This is the secret to a happy, fulfilled life.
Wow.
What
That's
do I
what to
want to achieve? It's the most simple exercise that you can do on the spot. And don't tell me, please don't tell me you don't have those 5 minutes for yourself. Because if you don't have these 5 minutes for yourself, you are definitely not living your life. You need to
Mm,
please take a break. Please take a break. Stop from the madness, from the craziness around you. I know that sometimes, Faiza, we are so extremely busy and
mm,
stressed that we cannot
mm.
see anything around us anymore. We are truly
Yeah.
blocked in our own mind. What an awful
Mm,
prison. So please, if you're listening to us, take a step back. Please take 5 minutes. Five
mm.
minutes, not more.
No problem.
Take a pen and a piece of paper and write down the answers to this question. What do I want to achieve? I, not them. I. What do I want to
Mm,
achieve for me? Don't rely
mm,
on others to tell you how to live your life because the victim mentality, Faiza, is strong. Our mind thinks that, well, if things are not working out, it's easy for me to blame them. I'm going to blame my mother for not having this career in medicine because she told me that I should go there. This is
mm,
dangerous because we do not want others to guide us in any way. We want others to inspire us. That's true. But you can only live your life. You are so authentically,
mm.
genuinely unique and amazing. And it's such a pity to let yourself be guided by someone else's opinions of what they think your life should look like.
What an impactful advice. And definitely, if I talk about myself, I'm definitely going to, go for just like 5 minutes. So, Roxana, I can't thank you enough for this incredible conversation. Like your passion, wisdom, and the impactful work you are doing in helping people overcome fear are truly inspiring. And we can actually, like, can actually feel that the energy oozing out from you is truly contagious, and it's really impactful as well, because whatever you are saying, you really mean it, and it's there. And the tools and insights you have shared today will no doubt resonate deeply with our audience, and it will empower them to step their own courage. And it's been an absolute honor having you on Empower Her Voices, and I truly appreciate the time and energy you have given us. So, wishing you continued success in your mission to help people live fear free. But it was no doubt an amazing, amazing, phenomenal conversation, which is going to actually have very long term impact in our lives if we are going to go for it.
It's truly an honor, Faiza. You are absolutely incredible. I must say that you are so inspiring to me. You are
Thank you.
just so well prepared, so wise, such an amazing listener. And it's a true pleasure to be here with you
Likewise.
in this wonderful, beautiful podcast episode, which I cannot wait to share with everyone listening to us. You are an
Likewise.
amazing host. You are doing so much good
Thank
for us ladies, for our community. And it's such a pleasure to have spent these minutes with you today. Thank you for having me. What an
Likewise.
amazing time.
Likewise, thank you so much. And to our wonderful audience, thank you for tuning in and being part of this empowering journey. Your support and engagement mean the world to us. And if you enjoy the episode, don't forget to share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Until next time, stay empowered and keep rising.